Okay guys, I am at my hoop and we are ready to stitch. I have my 5x7 hoop and I have tearaway stabilizer on here. You could use one or you can use two pieces on this to give it some more stability. There's a lot of dense satin stitches in this design, so if you want to use two pieces that would help as well. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Our very first step is to go ahead and stitch the top portion of our basket up here. This is actually this top portion right here. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch that and I will come back. This is a placement stitch, so I'm going to stitch it directly onto my stabilizer and then I will come back and show you what I'm putting there. Okay guys, there's the placement stitch for the top portion of your basket. Now you need to cut a big enough piece of fabric to cover this placement stitch. So I went ahead and did that already. I'm going to use vinyl. I have this really super pretty sparkle. This is canvas vinyl. Canvas vinyl is really super thin, so you can see that this is thin. This is Sparkle Marshmallow vinyl from My Punk Embroidery, and I will link this into the See More. If you go under the video, it will say See More. If you click on that, it's going to have a bunch of links, and one of the links will be to this vinyl, or at a minimum, the link will be to My Punk Embroidery. That's where I buy all my vinyl. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down, and you just need to make sure it covers all the placement stitches, and then you need to run step 2, which is basically going to tack down this fabric down to your stabilizer. So I'm going to go ahead and run that and I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay guys, this is what it looks like. I went ahead and tacked it down. Now there was two options you could have did. I just go ahead and put my piece here and then I take my scissors and I cut along this bottom line. The other thing you could do is you could just go ahead and, if you had a really straight edge, you could put it really close to the edge so it's really straight. In the end, you're not going to see this because we're going to put the bottom of the basket over this line, like really close to the line in the end. And the reason that it is constructed this way instead of having a full base piece is because you would waste all this vinyl under here by using white under here. So this is constructed a little bit differently. But I'm going to go ahead and just cut a straight edge. You could leave it. You don't even need to cut it at all. And I'll show you why not, because we're going to put fabric over it in the end. But I don't want anything bulky right there. So I'm going to just cut it. It's just what I do. It's not completely necessary. But it's kind of more of a personal preference. So I'm just going to get this extra out of here before we start stitching the detail steps. And it does not in any way need to be completely perfect. All I did is cut really close to it right there, just so I don't have it underneath my next fabric. But it's just an added step. You don't have to do it, and you can, when you finish seeing the rest of the construction, you can see why. But I do it, so I thought I would show it. Okay, so I will meet you back over at my machine. Okay, so this is what it looks like back on the machine. Now we are going to go ahead and stitch some details on this top, and we are on step 3, and it's basically going to stitch a detail for the handle. So I'm going to go ahead and make that this light brown, and I will come back and show you what that looks like. Okay guys, this is what that detail looks like. It's super cute. It went ahead and stitched all the way around. Now it's going to do a satin stitch all around that on both sides. I'll show you on my machine right here. That's going to be a satin stitch all the way around this basket handle. So I went ahead and made my thread a darker brown, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch that, and I'll come back and show you what that looks like. Okay, there's that satin stitch detail. So we're going to go on to the next step, which we're going to start doing the eggs. So we're stitching this egg on the far right first, the inside. So the color you want the egg, that's which color you want to put in. So I'm going to do it blue, this tealish blue color, and I'm going to stitch it, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, there's the egg. Now I'm going to go ahead and do step 6, which is the egg detail on top of there. So I went ahead and changed my thread. I'm going to go ahead and stitch that. Okay, there's the little diagonal lines. I'm going to go ahead and stitch the next step, step 7, which is going to do a satin stitch around that egg. So pick whatever color you want and go ahead and stitch it. Okay, there's what that egg looks like when that part is done. So we're going to go ahead and do step 8, which is going to stitch this other egg over here. So we're going to be stitching the background part of the egg. So whatever color you want that. And I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, I went ahead and stitched that egg. Now we're going to do, like we did on the other side, we're going to do the zigzaggy detail on that egg. You can't really see it right there, but it's step 9. And I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like when I'm done. Okay, there it is. You can see the yellow. Now the next step's going to do the satin stitch all the way around this egg. That's step 10, so I'm going to go ahead and run that, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, there's what that egg looks like. Now we're going to do the center egg. Step 11 is going to be doing the background color of the big egg. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch that. I changed my thread, and I will come back and show you. Okay, there's the green egg. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the next detail, which is step 12. It's going to do these little lines on the big egg, and I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, there's the scallop detail. So now I'm going to do the last detail on, well, I guess one more detail on the eggs and then the satin stitch, but these are cute little hearts. So this is step 13. I'm going to go ahead and stitch that, and I'll come back and show you. Okay, there's what the hearts look like. So I'm going to go ahead and do the last step on here, the eggs, which is the satin stitching around that big middle egg. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay guys, that's what the top of your bag looks like right there. Now I'm going to go ahead and stitch step 15 down onto the stabilizer right here. That's going to do the placement stitch for the bottom of your basket. So I'm going to go ahead and run that, and I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay guys, this is what I was talking about. So this top and this bottom are done in 2 separate pieces. Instead of having like a background fabric that took up this whole entire design and then you appliqued over that, you would just waste this whole back piece if that was there. So the way this is done is it's separate. So this top piece is one color normally, because you'd normally do this like a white or something because you have that see-through part that you want see-through. Then you're going to do your basket. I'm going to do this pretty blue. This is also canvas vinyl. It's really pretty. It's like an Elsa blue. It's really thin. Super pretty. I will link that as well. And it's from my punk embroidery. Okay, so there's a line right here. So I trimmed this right here. You didn't have to because you're not going to see it because this is going to go over it. But I didn't want the bulky little edge right there showing, like, it would just be bulky. So anyways, what you want to do, I got a clean edge right here, meaning that it's straight and it's not something I cut with my scissors. It's just a straight edge. And you are going to line it really low. Like, you don't want to cover your egg. You're going to line it, but you don't want it to be under because you're not going to want to see it. So you want it to be right where this line's going to stitch. So you're going to line it up just over this, completely straight, like that, and then you're going to go ahead and stitch the next step, which is going to tack this down, and that is step 16. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I will come back and show you what that looks like. But again, you're going to just want to barely line it up. See how it's not like going over that egg, but you want it right at the edge like that and straight across. Okay, so I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay guys, this is what it should look like. There's the tack down of the bottom part of your basket. You can see that it's just stitched right on that line. And you could give it a little more room and then cut it if you want, kind of like I did the other one, but I don't know how straight of an edge you can get. So I think I prefer to get a straight edge and try to place it perfectly versus cutting it after. But okay, so that's what the basket looks like so far. Now we are going to go ahead and stitch a detail on the bottom, and it's going to be the rim piece right there. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch that, step 17, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, there's that basket line, and now we're going to do another detail. It has these little hash marks on them. I'm going to go ahead and stitch those, and I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, there's the little hash marks. They're a little hard to see. The next step, you're going to go ahead and stitch the outside area right here on either side of your basket. So it's going to stitch like right here. It's like a finishing stitch right here and right here before we put the back on, because this is what is where your ribbon hole is going to be. So you can go ahead and put this on a banner. So by doing the finishing stitch here and here, it will look complete in the front, but when we put the back on, it won't stitch over the spot again on the back, and so it leaves a hole. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch that. You're going to want to use this, whatever you want the outline of your basket to show. That's what color you want to use right now. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch that, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, there it is. It went ahead and did the finishing stitches. Now, if you didn't add a name to yours, then you would do this next part. You would put the back, we would put the back on our hoop, and you would stitch the bottom part, and then it will stitch the top part, and you would be done. But I added a name here. So if you added a name at this point, you do not want to do step 20 or 21 yet. This is step 20. It's going to stitch the bottom. You need to put your back on before you stitch 20, but I still want to add my Zachary. So I'm going to go ahead and get control of my machine. I already have control, but I'm going to show you how. You should have a needle with a plus or a minus. Find that button and push it. Now, these stitches right here let you jump backwards 1, 10, 100, and 500 stitches within a step. These pluses let you jump forward that many stitches within a step, but we're going to just jump steps all together. These are really helpful. Like if you break your thread breaks and you have to rethread, you shouldn't start like right where you rethread. You do not want to just rethread and then start again because it skips some of the stitches. I would move back. You'd push this and it would... If I break stitches, I actually step back like 2 of these and a couple of those. I step back a little bit so it goes over that area again so it doesn't look messed up. But that's kind of what this is for. We're going to skip steps right now. So you want to do the spools, and I'm going to jump forward. So this plus jumps forward, so we're on 20. You got to remember you're going to come back and do 20, but we're not doing 20 right now. There's 21, that's the top. We're not going to do that one either right now. And then there's your name. That's where your name will be if you added it. So we're going to stitch this, step 22. So I'm going to go ahead and put some thread in, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch it now, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay guys, it went ahead and stitched my son's name. So this is what it looks like right now. It's super cute. Now, the way you're supposed to, this is a banner piece, so what we're supposed to do now is flip this over. I use felt on the back of banners, so you would go ahead and make sure you have a big enough piece of fabric to cover this, which I currently do not. So I'm going to get another piece of fabric because it's barely touching. But what you would do is put it here, make sure it covers all of your stuff, and then tape the 4 corners because this is on the bottom of your hoop. And then you're going to flip it over, and we're going to go stitch 2 steps here, and we're done. So the way that it works, we already did a finish stitch right here and right here. So when we go back and stitch the other part, once we have the back on, those steps I told you to skip, it's going to stitch like this, and then it's going to come up here. It's going to skip this, and then it's going to stitch all the way around this handle. And what it leaves you with, here's the one that's done. This is one I've already done, and I put Happy Easter on this one. What it does is if you flip the back over, it stitches all this whole side and this whole bottom, but it leaves this open on the back. So there is a hole right here, and there's a hole right here. So you can put ribbon all the way through this, and then it becomes a banner. So it's super cute and super cute. So I'm going to do something different. I always like to show you something different options when I'm doing these videos. And I'm still going to do the 2 stitches the same, so it will still leave holes right here. But I'm going to actually make this a door hanger for my son's door. So I just want to go ahead and show you, just so the stuff's more versatile and you can do other stuff with it, and how cute would this be hanging from his door. Super cute. So what I'm going to do is I took some ribbon right here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flip it over. Now there's 2 ways you could do this. You don't need this much, I just took a whole bunch, but you could take a small portion of this like that. Make sure it fits over your door, like you everybody's doorknobs, some of them can be different. Mine are actually handle ones. They're not like knobs. But if you have a knob or whatever, make sure the hole is big enough to go over that knob. But you could get that exact amount, and you could tape this right here like that. And know that it's going to stitch like right here. And then I cut the rest of the stuff. I'm going to do it a different way, so I'm going to show you that too. But I just wanted to show you if you wanted just the hoop, then you would go ahead and go like this. This would all be taped down. And then you would tape your 4 corners, and then you would stitch your next 2 steps, and it will completely stitch this ribbon between your 2 layers. So now you would have like a little hanger for this. It's going to be super cute. The other way you can do this is you can put this like in half, get it as long as you like, and then, hold on, just trying to get it in half, okay? You can tape it this other direction like this. Make sure you just have some in here like that and tape it, and then put your fabric over it. Tape and tape, and then go ahead and stitch your design. And what it will do is it's just going to stitch it will stitch this in between your 2 layers, and now you could tie a big bow, so you can have a cute little bow at the top versus just a loop. So either way will work. I'm going to do it this way, the bow way, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, this is what it looks like. I got a bigger piece. So I have my 4 corners taped on. This is on the bottom of my hoop. I have my piece of ribbon. I'm going to do the bow method, so I have it taped down right there too. I'm going to go bring this back to my hoop. I'm going to put it on my hoop like this, and then make sure my ribbon's out like straight out, and then I'm going to go ahead and stitch the next step, and I will show you what it looks like. Okay guys, I am on my hoop. I have, let me get my ribbon. My ribbon's like, sorry, see if I can get this. My ribbon's just straight out like that. It's taped on. Now your machine's gonna think it's finished because that name was the last step of the whole design. So you're gonna need to go back and find your steps we skipped. So I'm gonna go backwards because they're closer. So there's the name, there's the top, and there's the bottom. So there's your 20. So now we have the back on. So we are ready to stitch 20. So I'm going to take this blue thread, I'm going to put this thread back in here, and I'm going to stitch that step. And I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, when it's stitched all the way around to the bottom of our felt, the back of our hoop, that felt's now attached to this front. Now we're going to do the top, and it lets you change colors because it's going to go really close to this brown right here that I chose brown. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch that, and I will come back and show you what it looks like. It's just going to stitch that top piece like that. Sorry. Okay guys, this is what it looks like. Here's the front of your hoop. So cute. Here's the back of your hoop, and then here's our ribbon that's attached. It's just attached in between, and you can see that it stitched around here, leaving right here and right here open. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take this off my hoop. Okay, and I'm going to take all this stabilizer off. I always like to take it off in big pieces versus small pieces. It's easier to pull off. Okay. Now, if you did what I did, if you're going to do like a door hanger, you're going to have to be really careful about not cutting through this when you're trimming this front and the back. If you did the banner, you don't have to watch for anything. You just cut all the way around. Don't cut your stitches and you're good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and just start cutting. I'll use these big scissors for these straight pieces. And I'm just going to cut. Now, to make sure you don't cut areas, I put my scissors tip right up to the thread without cutting it, and then just cutting down, so then you know you're not going to cut it. I'm just going to come around here. Now there's a lot of detail on this stuff up here, so I'm going to switch scissors. These are actually my favorite scissors for this, and they're linked in the Seymour. They're just really small and they're really sharp, so it's easy to get around some of these corners. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to this one. I'm going to put the tip there. And I'm just going to get close to my stitches without cutting them. Okay, now if you did the door hanger thing that I did, you're going to want to stop up here because you don't want to cut right through this because then you'll just cut this off. We don't want that. So I'm just going to go this way, and then I'm going to go back down like this, and then I'm just going to, I'll come back and fix that part, but I'm just going to go around it for now. I am almost done. Sorry, watching me cut's probably boring. Okay. Okay, there we go. I cut all the way around. Now to get this other area, I'm going to set this down. Sorry, it's not as close. And I'll cut this back part first. Some tape. So I'm just going to hold this up, and then I'm just going to trim close to it. Okay, so that's good enough for now. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the vinyl side. I'm going to hold this back like this, and then I'm going to cut it. Makes it a little easier for me. I'm trying to get close so it looks good, but also trying not to cut this back. This is the same thing you have to do with the planner bands, if you've done any of the planner bands, so you don't cut the fold over elastic. I'm just trying to make that look a little cleaner, not so choppy. Okay. Sorry, I'm kind of picky. Alright, I'm going to go with that. Okay, so there you go. You have that. There's the back. Now you still have the holes. Let me show you real quick. Okay, so I'm just going to use this chopstick to show you there's a hole right here. And you can go all the way through. That's where you'd put your ribbon through. And actually what I do, I take this, it's hard to get the ribbon through here. I take this and I tape the ribbon on here, and then when it's taped, then that's how I get the ribbon through, like this, and then I can take it off from this side. And it's much easier than trying to safety pin it through or whatever. And there's some little strings back here you can cut to make it cleaner. Clean it up a little bit on the back. It's fine, just don't cut the little knots. Okay, so I'm gonna go hang this on the door, and then I'll bring you over there and show you what it looks like on the door. Okay guys, here it is. It's super cute. So there's our cute basket. And then I have the string coming out and it's hanging on a door. So there you are, that's what it looks like. I'm not the best bow folder. I probably could have taken some more time to make the bow, but remember you're going to want to heat seal the edges, ribbon phrase. So I took a lighter and heat sealed the edges, but I just wanted to show you that as well. And there you go. If you wanted a bigger bow, you could just have more ribbon when you make this, but there it is. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this video.